What's up, everyone?
Hi there.
I'm Mr. Hunt. Welcome to our channel where we are here to help make math easy.
You betcha, you donkey-faced phony soldier.
All right, so what's on the docket for today, Mr. B? I wrote it down on the paper for you. We practiced saying it for like 2 hours. Did you eat the paper again?
All I has is my portrait I drew myself. Here.
You drew on it? This is what you think you look like.
No, I don't think. I know.
Have you looked in a mirror?
How do you think I made this here portrait?
Are you sure it was a mirror and not some picture horribly drawn?
I looked at it and knew it was me because we had the same beautiful mouth and teeth.
I don't know why I entertained that for so long. All right, whatever. Today, we're gonna show you how to divide fractions, and we're gonna do it by showing you 2 very easy tricks that will make it so simple. Even Mr. B could do it.
Now I'm gonna bounce this here pencil on my fingers. Ready? Oh, nope, that didn't work. Oh, nope.
Maybe not. Well, look for the challenge problem in the lesson and see if you can figure it out. All right, in future videos, what we're gonna do is we're gonna do a contest to see who can figure out the question, get it correct, and then we're gonna put all those people's names into a hat, pick one out to win a Mr. B custom t-shirt. All right, so start practicing because we just might include the answers that people have in these videos as well. Maybe, I don't know. All right, so keep that in mind. All right, but without further ado, let's get started. All right, so division of fractions can often be tricky because most of the time when people do division of fractions, they find that their answers start to look bigger than their problems, which normally doesn't happen because usually you start with a total, what you're starting with, and then you're breaking up into small groups of equal size. So that can be a little confusing. Now, what's different about dividing fractions is we're starting with a part of a whole. We're not starting with a whole from more than one. We're starting with part of one. So we're starting with half a pizza, and we're breaking that into 4 groups. Okay, so what we want to do is I'm going to show you a problem here. All right, I'm going to show you the first hack, which is going to be very, very important. Okay, and this one stands for KCF. It's KCF.
I love their fried chicken.
That's not the same thing, Mr. B.
Yes, it is. I eat there every 2 hours on Thursdays and Tuesdays, and also on the second Tuesdays of every Thursday.
I think you're talking about KFC.
Nope. Kentucky Chicken Fried. Ha! You think it's Kentucky Fried Chicken? That don't make no sense.
Whatever you think this is, this stands for keep, change, flip.
Whatever.
Okay? Keep, change, and flip. All right, and I'll show you kind of how this works, but this is the one thing you're gonna need to remember. So oftentimes when I'm talking to my students, I tell them all about Kentucky Chicken Fried because usually KFC or KCF will be enough to kind of remind you when you're trying to figure out what it was. And then from there, you can remember K stands for keep, C stands for change, F stands for flip. Now let me show you what that means, all right? And I'll put this up on the side so you can see it, but I need this room, so let's get rid of it. All right, so the first one, K, stands for keep. So let's start with a problem. 1/2 divided by 3/4. Okay? So keep means the first thing, our first fraction, we're going to keep it. We're not doing anything with it. It's going to stay the same. Okay? So 1/2 stays. We keep it as 1/2. The next one is C, change. We're going to change our division to the opposite operation, which is multiplication. Okay, and I know you're like, can you just do this? We can't do it just willy-nilly. We can't just go around and just change the operation. The only reason we can change it is because of what we're about to do. All right, the last one is F, flip. That means we are going to flip the position of the numerator and denominator. The numerator is going to go to the denominator. The denominator is going to go to the numerator. So instead of 3/4, we have 4/3. Okay? So this is keep, change, flip. All right? Keep, change it to multiplication. It's always multiplication, not another operation. Always from division to multiplication. And then we flip that second one. Now this operation of flipping, it's not an actual mathematical term. It's actually reciprocal. And reciprocal just means we are flipping the position of the numerator and denominator. And because we do that, now we can multiply. Now, if you haven't seen my video on how to multiply fractions, go ahead and watch that. There'll be a link in the description below. But to multiply fractions, it's actually quite simple. All we're going to do is kind of similar to adding and subtracting in a way. We're focused only on the numerators together and then the denominators. Now we don't need a common denominator, okay? Don't do it because you're going to be wasting a lot of your own time. We are just going to multiply 1 times 4 and we get 4. And that's our new numerator, new. And then we're going to multiply our denominators, 2 times 3, and that equals 6. Okay? And that's it. Really, as long as you remember keep, change, flip, you'll be able to divide fractions because it really changes the operation to multiplication, and then we multiply it out. Now, before we report this as our quotient, we need to do one thing. And if you've seen any of my videos before on fractions, you know we need to simplify. All right, we need to simplify. So I need to look at what are the factors of our numerator. I'm going to pick the smaller of the two numbers. All right, 4 is smaller than 6. What are the factors of 4? What are the numbers that we use to multiply to get 4? Well, I know the problem 1 times 4, and then I also know 2 times 2. So usually you want to pick the largest number that you know will go into this and try it down here to see if it will divide 6 evenly. All right, and that's obviously 4. So I know 4 goes into 4 once. So I'm going to try 6 divided by 4. And that doesn't quite work. So that's not going to work. I'm not going to choose 1 because dividing any whole number by 1 is just that number. So I'm not going to choose that either. So what I'm left with is 2. So both of these are even numbers. Now I know every even number can be divided by 2. So I'm going to go ahead and divide both of these by 2 to simplify it, to make the numbers a little bit simpler, a little smaller. These two fractions, once we get our simplified fraction, is going to be equivalent. It's the same, but with smaller numbers. 4 divided by 2 was 2. 6 divided by 2 was 3. All right, then we would also, again, look at this fraction and think, what are the common factors? Now, pick the smaller of the two numbers, 2. The factors are the numbers we use to multiply to get 2. All I know is 1 times 2. This is actually a prime number. It only has 2 factors. So I'm not going to use 1. The only other number is 2. Can we divide 3 by 2 evenly? No. So that means this is our quotient. 2/3 is our quotient to 1/2 divided by 3/4. Okay? So that's the first one. All right? And that's the first hack you really need to pay attention to. All right? Let's do another one with a slightly different problem. All right? All right, our next problem is we're going to take 4/5 and divide it by 3. Now, right off the bat, you probably noticed there's something different about this problem than the one we just did.
Something changed.
All right, 4/5 divided by 3. Before, we had a fraction being divided by a fraction. Here, we have a fraction being divided by a whole number. All right, our whole number right here is our divisors doing the dividing. So that means we need to change this so we have 2 fractions. So 3 is not a fraction. Now, since it's 3 wholes, that means that we can change it to a fraction quite simple by this one simple trick. And that is by writing it over 1.
Don't forget it!
Because that means 1 piece makes a whole. How many pieces do we have? We have 3. So that means 1/1 plus 1/1 plus 1/1. Okay? We don't add the numerators, or the denominators. We don't add the denominators. We just add the numerators. So 1 piece makes a whole, and we have 3 of those pieces. Okay? So this is 3 wholes, or 3/1. To write any whole number as a fraction, all you do is write it over 1.
Don't forget it!
Okay? Over 1. Over 1. Over 1. Over 1. Okay? So, let's get rid of this. All right, so now we're going to remember keep, change, flip. Okay? So we're going to keep this first one. We're going to change the operation, and we're going to flip that second fraction. Okay? So 4/5 stays as 4/5. We're going to change division to multiplication. It's always changing to multiplication. And then we're going to flip this second fraction to find the reciprocal. All right? So our numerator goes to our denominator goes to our numerator. So 3 is in our denominator, 1 is in our numerator. So we have 1/3. Okay? So now what we're going to do, you remember from the last one, we're going to multiply across. All right? Multiply our numerators, multiply our denominators. 4 times 1 is 4. 5 times 3 is 15. All right? We're not done there. We need to put in simplest form. Simplify. So I need to come up with the factors. And I'm going to choose the smaller of the 2 numbers. 4 is the smaller one. So what are the factors? What are the multiplication problems I can do that will come up with 4 as an answer? Well, we have 1 times 4, and we have 2 times 2. Okay? So you want to pick the largest number that you can make fit to divide the denominator. You know all of these will work for 4 because they're factors of 4. They're numbers we can use to multiply to get 4. So 4 divided by 1 is 4. 4 divided by 4 is 1. 4 divided by 2 is 2. Okay, so it's all going to work. But we need to check to see what will work down here. Now, some of you may know your divisibility rules. And if you do, then you can already look at this and know it's not going to work. Okay? I'm going to be having a video on divisibility rules too. So make sure you watch that video because that will save you time. That's the biggest thing with math. You want to save time. So I'm not going to choose to divide 15 by 1 because then I'll just get 15 and that's a waste of my time. I can divide by 4. 15 divided by 4. Well, let's see. I know 4 times 2 is 8. 4 times 3 is 12. 4 times 4 is 16. So it doesn't quite work. All right, 15 divided by 2. If Remember from the last problem, if the number is an even number, 2 will go in. 5 is not even. So that means that this problem is actually in simplest form. That is our quotient, all right, in simplest form. Okay, so all that was different about this one is we were dividing a fraction by a whole number. So we had to write a whole number as a fraction and then follow KCF. All right, let's try another problem, and it's gonna be slightly different again, but I think you're gonna know what to do. All right, let's get rid of this. All right, so let's try this problem. Now we're going to have 5/6, and we are going to divide it by, let's go 5/4, okay? You'll notice that one of these is an improper fraction. Now I already changed a mixed number to an improper fraction for you, but if you're faced with a mixed number, you just change it to an improper fraction. All right, so in this problem, we're going to do 5/6 divided by 5/4. All right, same process applies. We're going to keep, and then change, and then flip. All right, so we're going to keep 5/6. That's going to stay the same. We're going to change division to multiplication, and then we're going to flip 5/4. We're going to find the reciprocal. 5 goes to our denominator, 4 goes to our numerator. Now this is where the next trick is going to come in, all right? The next trick is this. It's called
cross simplification.
All right? It's an X, and we can only do it once we're multiplying. We can't do it when dividing, okay? So cross simplifying is going to be, we're going to look at our numerator of one fraction and our denominator of the other, and we're going to ask ourselves, what number can we divide both of these by to simplify them a little bit? All right, and I know they're both even, so I know 2 will go in. So I'm going to divide both of these by 2, okay? And I'm going to rewrite my fractions over here. It's not my answer, but I'm going to just rewrite these fractions. So our first denominator is 6 divided by 2, and that equals 3. Our numerator of our second fraction is 4 divided by 2, and that equals 2. All right, so now I'm going to go the opposite way. It's always the denominator of one fraction and the numerator of the other. Denominator of one fraction, the numerator of the other. So you'll see it's a cross, it makes like an X. I like kind of thinking of it as like a little butterfly. And kind of looks like an evil butterfly. I guess he's kind of happy a little bit. But now he's mad. And he has a little tongue, if you can see. All right, so with our problem right here is we're going to have 5 and 5. So what number goes into 5 and 5? Well, it's 5. We'll divide both of these by 5. So our numerator of our first fraction is 5 divided by 5, which is 1. 5 divided by 5 is 1 for our second fraction. Now you might be asking, Mr. Hunt, why did we do this? What's the point? I could just simplify after. Well, in a problem like this, sure. Probably is not going to save you a ton of time with fractions that are not that large. But if you get into fractions that have bigger numbers, check to see if you can cross simplify. Because if you can, it's going to make your multiplication so much easier. You'll notice even looking here, it's a lot easier. And we're going to cut out some time on the end to simplify at the end. So 1 times 2 is 2. 3 times 1 is 3. So we have 2/3. All right, and I know, just like before, we had 2/3. 2/3 is in simplest form. I know that because the only factors for 2 are 1 and 2. And we know 3 divided by 1 is 3, so we're not going to use 1. But 3 divided by 2 doesn't work. It doesn't divide evenly. So this is our answer. And that's it for today.
I drew Gilles a portrait.
Can't wait to see this.
Here you go.
I use the mirror.
I did my best. I could do it over if you'd like. Everybody smash that like button and make sure you subscribe so you see more of me. Alright, and then in the comment section, I want you to write which toenail is your favorite and explain in 6 words. No less, no more. Okay, mine is Federico. Favorite because he's fast and fastidious. That works right there. Smell you later.